Hello and welcome to the webinar. We are excited to have you here today. Our webinar today is titled Better Together, Pathlock and Microsoft Entra ID Entra ID Governance Integration Overview. Our presenters today are Prabal Chaturvedi and Michael Herpers. They'll introduce themselves in just a moment. But first, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. Everyone is on mute in order to prevent background noise. If you have any questions, please put those in the questions box, and we would be happy to answer those at the end of the presentation. We'll have a Q&A session. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to our presenters to introduce themselves. Go ahead, Prabal.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. My name is Prabal Chaturvedi, as introduced by Stephanie. I bring over 17 years of customer-facing experience with a specialization in identity and access governance solutions. I'm looking forward for this webinar, guys. So thank you so much. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Michael. I'm working as a manager for Protiviti Germany. I have more than 7 years of experience in consulting, especially for Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Entra ID. And I'm the responsible guy in Germany for Microsoft security topics. So then we will directly start with the first slide. So from my experience, we discovered some identity governance challenges in our organizations by customers. The first is that accounts from employees who left the company are staying multiple times still active because no one is removing them. And this is creating some security issues. So that's one of our big challenges we will face today. Then the second topic would be the privilege creep, where some trainees or other roles in the company gain more and more access in the environment, and no one is reviewing the access permissions for these persons. The third topic would be that we have some external collaborators roles, especially when you're working with contractors or vendors. Sometimes they keep access even after their projects are finished. And also we have many organizations do not have a clear view of who has access to which systems and data. And the final topic would be the compliance pressure. We are seeing it's growing more and more. Now we got DORA compliance in Europe especially. We have ISO, we have GDPR and SOX, and these all are requiring a strong access control and report, which are hard to manage by hand then. Today we will have a short overview about the Microsoft Entra suite. Especially we will focus on the Microsoft Entra ID Governance topic, but also I want to mention that there are more. So it's in suite, not everything is included in your Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 license, especially the Microsoft Entra ID Governance part needs to have an extra license you need to buy when you want to use it. But there are also more features in the Microsoft Entra suite, like the Microsoft Entra Internet Access, which allows you to have a VPN solution, which tunnels your connections to Microsoft 365 services, and also SaaS applications like Salesforce or ServiceNow. And there's also the Microsoft Entra Private Access, which is really new, which allows you to have a VPN tunnel to your on-premise hardware and on-premise services. What are the Microsoft Entra Identity Governance features? The most important topic from my side here is the identity lifecycle for your own employees and also for your guests. For the employees, it means that you could connect your HR systems directly to Microsoft Entra ID. So Microsoft Entra ID will extract there some data, something like a new employee, and then we will have the possibility to create some workflows automatically, like onboarding processes, offboarding processes, and also when some HR attributes are changing, we could have some mover process starting in the Microsoft Entra ID Governance feature. Then we have the identity lifecycle for guests. Also there it's possible to offer a self-service for guest users, to offer them to request their access in a company, but also to provisioning them automatically and also to deprovisioning them based on their attributes. Then we got the access certifications, which allows us to regularly check who has access to which systems, and this access review or access recertification could be done directly by the manager or system owner of the affected system. So that would be one important topic. Then we got the analytics and reporting stuff, which gives us full visibility of all access change that are logged in the Entra ID portal or in the Entra ID Governance. And it also allows us to export all audit logs for security investigations or audit requests by an external auditor. Then we got the entitlement management, where we can create the access packages, which we'll probably introduce you later, for different apps, groups, teams, and SharePoint sites. Also, employees or guests can create the requests for these access packages, and the approvals could be managed automatically by the defined user group that we will show you later. Then we have the workflows. The workflows helps us to automate many processes, like to create a new password for a user and send them directly per mail to his manager. And we could also create some tickets in a ServiceNow environment through Power Automate tasks. Then we got the provisioning and fulfillment, which handles automatic user account creation and deletion across many connected systems like Entra ID, SQL databases, Teams, or even legacy systems like they are using LDAP protocols. And finally, we have the privileged access management, which is also included in the Microsoft 365 E5 license, where you could create a request scenario for highly privileged roles for the administrators in your environment, or also for external administrators, which should have only the permissions for a short time. Now we are coming directly to the lifecycle workflow examples. So as you can see here, we could connect some connections between Microsoft Entra ID with big HR cloud solutions like Workday or SAP SuccessFactors. And then we could create lifecycle workflows for enterprise SaaS applications like SAP or something like that. If you could see, like you could see here, we have an example for a joiner, mover, and leaver process. So in the joiner process, we could automatically create the user account for the user after it's created in the HR portal. Then we create a user account with the status disabled in the Entra ID. And then X days before the user starts, we could send an email to the manager from the user or to the distribution list so that new hire is joining the company. We could launch custom logic apps to create ServiceNow tickets for the IT department to purchase new hardware for him. And we could generate a temporary access password for the user so he could directly log in on the first day with a temporary access password, could configure his multi-factor authentications, could generate or configure a new password. And then finally, we will send an email with this information to the hiring manager of the joiner. For the mover process, we have also the possibilities to automatically do actions after some user attributes are changed in the HR systems. So then on effect, we could remove the user from, as an example, from the marketing team's user, from the marketing team's team. And we could add the user then to new group assignments like the IT department. We could give him automatically or direct new access package and remove his old access package from all applications which were relied to the marketing stuff. And then we could send an email to the employee that he's now configured or his access packages were changed to his new job role. Then we have the leaver termination topic, where we could automatically say on the last day, we would like to block user sign-ins from this account. We want to remove him from all Teams channels. We want to remove him from licensing groups. We want to remove him from specific groups in SharePoint Online or something. And then we could also send a reminder to the reminder email to the manager that his employee is leaving on the day. And also one important topic is this solution is also compatible to hybrid joint or hybrid work Microsoft Entra and Microsoft environments. So we have the possibility to have some cloud HR solution, which will be synchronized with the Microsoft Entra provisioning services. The Microsoft Entra provisioning services will then create a new user account on-premise in your Active Directory, and then it starts the normal process, like it's synchronizing with Microsoft or through Microsoft Entra Connect to Microsoft Entra ID. And then also we have the possibility about over the Microsoft Entra provisioning services to have an attribute write back, because normally email addresses and something like that will be created by Exchange Online, and we need to have it in our HR system again. So Microsoft Entra ID Governance has the possibility to write back these attributes to the HR system. Then we'll have a short look in the lifecycle workflows. As you can see here, you will find these identity governance topics in the Entra portal under identity governance, and then there you have an option like lifecycle workflows. And there I created some example lifecycle workflow, which we will have now a detailed view in it over it. In the lifecycle workflow, you have the possibility to define a trigger detail. So as we mentioned before on the lifecycle workflows example slide, you could say, okay, 7 days before the employee hire date is, this workflow will automatically start for the users. And we could also define a scope where we could say, okay, it's only affecting users from Germany, which are joining the marketing or sales department. And then we have the possibility to say, okay, following tasks will be done in a specific order, like I mentioned before, to generate a temporary access password and send it per mail, add the user to the marketing and sales group, add the user to a Microsoft licensing group, request some access package for the user, and then send an onboarding a reminder email, and send a welcome email in the user mailbox. Under the generate tab and send mail task, we have also the possibility to configure something like, okay, who wants to receive this temporary access password? Normal way would be the new manager of the employee. We could also say, okay, we standardly have some CC recipients, like the IT manager, which should also get the password, or the onboarding help desk employee from your side. And we could also define the access password activation duration. So normally we would say, okay, he have 8 hours. Is it active on his joining day? But he can only use it one time to configure then multi-factor authentications and his new password. And that was a short introduction in how an lifecycle workflow would look like. And now I will like to hand over to Prabal for the access packages and the integration of Pathlock.
Thank you, Michael. I am audible?
Yep, you're audible.
Okay. So I guess we are on slide number 13.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, I won't be able to, take care of the slides, but thank you, Stephanie, for that. So, yeah. So building on what Michael has covered so far, we understand that Microsoft Entra ID Governance provides the flexibility to tailor the user experience, enabling users to access a centralized, intuitive interface for requesting access to roles, applications, entitlements across the enterprise landscape. Now, what Pathlock Cloud does is it enhances this experience by leveraging its robust connector framework to extend governance beyond high level role definitions. We go deeper into underlying functions, permissions, entitlements, what we refer to as the content of those roles, providing granular visibility and control. This allows organizations to not only manage who has access, but also understand exactly what they have access to, ensuring more effective risk mitigation and compliance. The integration of Pathlock Cloud with Microsoft Entra ID Governance delivers a comprehensive and unified approach to access governance risk management. This strategic integration bridges a critical gap in Microsoft Entra ID Governance by introducing fine-grained risk analysis that complements its existing coarse-grained access controls. Right? Next slide, please. Slide number 14.
Yep.
By integrating Pathlock with Microsoft Entra ID Governance, uh, organizations gain a unified approach to managing a business roles, which you typically, Michael talked about, managing business roles across their IT landscape. This integration enables Pathlock to deliver published business roles into Microsoft Entra ID Governance, allowing access requests made through the Entra ID Governance My Access portal to be seamlessly provisioned across all connected systems. Risk-free business roles are created in Pathlock Cloud and then seamlessly published into Microsoft Entra ID Governance as access packages. Next slide. Now, let's take a closer look how it works, starting with how Pathlock publishes business roles to Microsoft Entra ID Governance in Pathlock. So slide number 16.
Yep, we're on slide 16.
Perfect. We begin by navigating into business roles. For this demonstration, what we will do is we will publish two roles highlighted, which are accounts clerk and accounts receivable. Next slide, please. Slide number 17. Now, let's begin with examining one of the by accounts clerk role, which if you see this, Stephanie, are you on unmute? Okay. So now let's begin by examining accounts clerk role. Now this role provides a critical level of access across multiple systems, as you can see, right? When expanded, it reveals access to several target applications, each with specific roles and entitlements aligned to the respective systems. Now moving to slide number 18. Now let's take a look at accounts receivable role. Unlike the accounts clerk role, this one has no associated risk. And if we see the details underneath, we can see it provides access to SAP, including 3 SAP specific roles. Now moving to slide number 19, let's publish these roles to Microsoft Entra ID Governance. Now, when we switch over to Microsoft Entra Admin Center, we will start in the identity governance module, right? Let's go to the slide number 20. So slide number 20, we go under entitled management. We navigate to the Pathlock catalog. Let's go to slide number 22. Currently, if you see this under slide number 22, we don't see accounts clerk and accounts receivable roles published yet as access packages. Now we'll go back to the Pathlock cloud and we'll publish these roles. So moving to slide number 23, first we will publish the accounts receivable role from Pathlock. Slide number 24 shows that once we submit, we publish the access package. Slide number 25 shows that why we want to publish this package. So we put the reason that we want to publish to Microsoft Entra ID Governance. Slide number 26 shows that we have published, right? Similarly, let's publish next role, which is accounts clerk. So moving to slide number 27, we will publish these roles. Again, slide number 28 repeats the same process. Slide number 29 talks about why we want to publish. And moving to slide number 30 tells us that now, after publishing these roles, the access packages are part of Entra ID Governance. So that means when we published, now what we have done so far, we have published both the roles from Pathlock Cloud, one of which was having some risk and one was completely risk-free, has been published to Entra ID Governance. So now moving to slide number 31, we see that when we expand one of the roles, it also shows me the associated resource roles originally defined in Pathlock are also now included into Entra ID Governance along with these access packages. And if we move to slide number 2, we can see that all these business roles are reflected into Microsoft Enterprise Application List. For example, we can see Oracle, JD Edwards, SAP environments. Next slide. Slide number 33. Here we can drill into one of these applications. We can see the role published from Pathlock are clearly visible as more business roles are added into Pathlock, corresponding from enterprise applications within Microsoft Entra ID Governance, right? So moving to slide number 34, that gives you a complete understanding of the detailed, underneath associated roles. Slide number 35 talks about the application. Now moving to slide number 36. Now let's look what we saw so far, that we have created business roles, access packages into Pathlock Cloud. We published into Microsoft Entra ID Governance. Now let's try to, request these business roles, and I mean these business access packages using Microsoft Entra ID Governance My Access portal. So slide number 36 shows you the My Access portal, where users can view and request access to publish business roles under access packages option. So if I move to slide number 37, you can see that under access packages, I can see all of the access packages available for the request. Here we can see our two published packages, accounts clerk and accounts receivable, right? Let's try to request one of these access packages. To start with, moving to slide number 38, I want to, I have clicked on the accounts clerk. Next, I can see on the resource rows, I can see all of the associated rows underneath. I'll click on continue. Moving to slide number 39, I will put the reason why I need an access to, and I will just provide a simple justification, and I'll submit the request. Slide number 40 will, is something I have done same for accounts receivable. So I have published, I have requested both the packages. Now let's try to go under approvers, which is nothing but admin center. So I'm moving to the slide number 42. So 42 let's begin with one of the first approval, which is for account clerk. When I click the request view under the approvers, which is on slide number 43, I can see the details. As a manager, I can review the details. The manager can take a closer request at the request detail to get further clarity with Pathlock. So if I click on, if I go to slide number 45, I can see that there is a complete detailed information along with risk check. So the highlighted portion talks about the reason, the red ember, which says that, okay, there is a risk. And if I take this link and open in the slide number 46, it shows me the complete detailing of the details. First, on slide number 46, it shows you the managers. They can see the request, they can see the employee information. Moving to slide number 47, you can see the requested access packages, as well as the systems and underneath roles that are assigned within the access package, right? Moving to slide number 48, it evaluates the request, identifies the potential risk, in this case, sensitive and access risk, and violations have been flagged. Moving, if I click any of these details, right, let's try to click on one of the risk details to see how the risk detailing looks like. So when I click on risk number, say EBS 015, moving to slide number 49, the reviewer can drill into these violations for more details about the risk, such as description of the risk, severity, along with the documentation showing which roles in conflict are, clicking in conflict. Clicking on the roles tab, moving to the next slide, slide number 50, I can see a summary of the conflicting roles, allowing the manager to inspect the fine-grained entitlements that contribute to the risk, as well as show the role usage to which we can, can do versus do analysis. Now, based on this information, I will go back into my approval portal. Based on the risk analysis, manager can either approve or deny. That shows on risk, slide number 51. And because there is a risk, I took a decision that I want to typically decline the request because of the risk, business risk. Same for next access package, which was accounts receivable. I see on slide number 53 that, sorry, slide number 54, that there are no risk associated, right? So for this particular access package, we typically are good to go ahead. I'll approve this request. I will submit this request. And on slide number 56, I can see that once I have approved the request, in the Entra ID Governance portal, the status for the accounts receivable package updates to delivered. That means based on my approval, the request access package has been submitted, it has been granted and delivered. Now let's go back to Pathlock Cloud and see what happened. So moving to slide number 57, there is a request which got generated, right? I can see the business roles. If I scroll a bit down, which, slide number 58, I can see the complete audit trail, and I can see the steps that based on the approvals, the access package got assigned and has been, hit the target system. Now let's confirm, because if you remember, this access package consists of SAP roles, right? All the associated SAP roles. So let's go and confirm in SAP if these roles or associated roles got granted or not. So moving to slide number 59, I have gone to SAP, I've gone to a transition SE01, searching for this user, and slide number 60 tells me that yes, these 3 roles have been successfully assigned. Right? Now, moving to slide number 61, if I want to go back and revoke any of these access packages, the process is simple. Just select the user, click on the top button where you can see the remove, and if you click on it, it again goes and generates a new request for removal of business role or say business package, and slide number 62 depicts that. So slide number 62 tells you that Pathlock processed this change and updated the workflows accordingly. And moving to slide number 63, you can see that same process went. Gone through the different layer of approvers and the steps. And if I go to slide number 64, it finally checking the SAP, it says that those roles which were being assigned using the access package have been removed successfully. And this shows the Pathlock and the Microsoft Entra ID Governance has a seamless integration, and with this, organization achieves a unified approach to access management, ensuring secure, compliant, and efficient workflows across your IT and business landscape. I guess that is it. Thank you all. That concludes what I wanted to cover from my end. I'll pause here to see if we have any questions. If not, I'll hand the baton back to Michael.
It looks like we have a few questions, but we can save those until the Q&A at the end.
Sure. Thank you.
Perfect. And I will take over. So after this access package introduction from Pabal, we will now have a look on the recertification process in Microsoft Entra ID Governance. So as you could see here, we have the normal process of ongoing auditing and reporting. So we have a user which gets onboarded. He requests then maybe also additional access to some packages. The access packages will be provisioning for him. And then we will have this review and revise step, where we will have a recertification of the access packages. Are they still needed or not? And then also when a job is changed, this ongoing auditing and reporting process will stay alive, or will happen also after a change of the job. Then he gets new access packages and automatically get some new auditing and reporting for this access packages. In my example, you could see here that when I created some recertification or review, it's also possible to say, okay, what would I have to review it? In my example here, I was focusing on this typical topic, like we have some external users which are member of some teams and groups, and I want to have the group owner or the team's owner to recertificate this access after a given time. So I can here select the review scope, say I will have this review for all Microsoft 365 groups with guest users. I can define the scope that I say, okay, it's only for guest users. And then I will define also that it's only for inactive users, and users will be flagged as inactive after 30 days of inactivity. Then we got the possibility to say, okay, who should review these users? There we could say, okay, I want this to select the reviewers that are these group owners from the Teams channel, Teams site. Or I could also select some user group or some specific user for these users. And I could also configure that the user could review their access by their own, which is not, from my side, not so recommended. I think the best way should be that the group owners of the teams should review some access, or should review the access for the users, for the guest users. And I could define some recurrency. I could say, okay, it's a duration in days. So this review will take 2 weeks, and it should recurrence all months or all half a year, and it should start on a specific date. And then we could define in the settings that the decision the reviewers have done, it should automatically apply. So when some reviewer is denying the access for a guest user, the guest user should automatically be excluded from these teams, excluded from a group, or excluded from a permission. We could configure some reviewer decision helpers, where we could say, okay, the reviewer should be able to see that some guest users or some users were not signing in the past 30 days. Or we could also configure them that they got some user to group affiliation, which means that they see, okay, is a user actively working within Teams channel or within group, or is he just a member which is not active and does nothing and just collecting some notifications in Teams. And then we have the possibility to configure advanced settings so that the reviewer needs to enter a justification why is he or she denying or approving the access for the external guests. We could configure some automatically email notifications so that the reviewers get some email that there's a new review cycle which they need to attend, and also we could send automatically some reminders. So how does it look like for the reviewer? The reviewer gets an email with from Microsoft, from the tenant. There's normally then also not Contoso demo as the company logo. There's then the company logo of your company. And the user directly sees, okay, I have an action required here. I need to review some group access. Here's the default review name. You could name it by yourself and say, okay, I will review the access from external guests in the marketing team by a specific end date. Now here in my example, it was the June 14th. And then the user, when it has clicked on start review, it comes to this My Access portal and has under the access reviews the started review campaign. Now she can click there on the name of the campaign. Would see, okay, Michael was inactive on this Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Teams, and could then done his decision, could say, okay, I will deny or approve this user, or I don't know the user, maybe some other reviewers should review it for me. And then she needs to enter some justification. And when she entered this justification and submitted it, the user will be automatically removed from this Teams. So now we are done with the technical part, and I have prepared also some short introduction to Protiviti, because I think no one, or not no one, but the most of you maybe doesn't know Protiviti or Robert Half. So Protiviti is a global consulting firm based in the US, or headquarters is in the US, but we have at this time over 90 offices in more than 25 countries worldwide. In Germany, we have 5 offices, one in Berlin, Düsseldorf, Frankfurt, Hamburg, and Munich. Protiviti is a huge partner for Microsoft, especially on the US side. We were partner finalist excellence, awarded for the partner excellence award the last 5 years. We have won one excellence award in the compliance and privacy trailblazer award, which is specific more on the data protection and data governance topics. And we are holding all these Microsoft certifications and designations which are able to hold as a company. Protiviti is also focused on topics like strategy consulting, process optimization, risk management, internal audit, technology consulting, and also we have a big footprint in the managed solutions topics. And now I think we are already at the Q&A session. I will hand over to Stephanie again.
Thank you, Prabal and Michael, for that great presentation. I appreciate it. Okay, so it looks like we have some questions that have come in. The first one that I would like to address is someone was asking if this meeting was recorded and will it be available to share within your organization. It has been recorded automatically, and we will put it up on demand and then send that out to everyone that registered. And so you'll be able to share it, the link that way. It will show up in your email by next week. And then I think someone asked if we're sharing the slides. We're not sharing the actual slides, but we will be sharing the recording. So you can share the recording that will include our speakers and the slides. Okay. Our next question is, how are backfill access managed, as many people who move may need access to do and hand over transition whilst obtaining new rights in their new role?
Yeah, I think that could be a question from my side. So this mover process could start after X days. The user attribute has changed. We could also configure some process with a delay that the user holds his old rights and then the old rights will be removed after X days. So then he has access to the old topics, old files and SharePoint signs and something like that.
Okay, great. It says, and the next question is, in this setup, where are applications integrated for account or role provisioning? Is that within Pathlock or Entra ID?
Sorry, I'll answer that. So for all the business applications, so if we just go back to understand what Pathlock does. So Pathlock ensures to take care of the fine-grained risk analysis. So when it comes to all the business applications, critical business applications like SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, the integration is on the Pathlock side. But when it comes to the IM applications, IT application, Microsoft Entra ID Governance has a lot of it. So yeah, that's how we typically divide all the business critical applications on Pathlock side, all the ID applications or IM applications on the Entra ID Governance side.
Okay, great. And then as a follow-up question, we already answered that question about the slides. The next question is, show us the back-end system. Are you able to show us the back-end system for JD Edwards and Oracle, which was part of the overall access? Do you guys want to?
As of now, we don't have any that system ready. But we can come back with certain set of screenshots if required, and Stephanie can take care of that eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a separate webinar, and if you have more questions about JD Edwards and Oracle specifically, we can reach out to you and answer more of those questions. We have a separate team that focuses solely on JD Edwards and Oracle.
Right.
Okay, our next question is, how do the roles or packages get into Entra from SAP IDM, or how do they get set up manually?
Yeah, so we already saw that Pathlock Cloud is able to integrate, have first of all out of the box a standard connectors for all the business applications like SAP in the example you just mentioned. So we have out of the box connectors. We Pathlock integrates it. We read all the data with respect to all users, roles, entitlements, underneath underlying functions, permissions, and so on. And then we have a governance layer, which we call as the SOD brain on top of it, where we define the risk matrices or say rule set matrices and create, SOD free access packages. So the idea is all about to create risk-free or say segregation of duty-free access packages in Pathlock Cloud. And because we have a integration, standard integration with Entra ID Governance, we are able to push these risk-free business packages or say business role in the form of business access packages into Entra ID Governance.
Perfect. Okay, the next question is, can I manage the SharePoint site access through Entra ID? And if so, for how, especially for leavers?
Yes, you could manage the access for SharePoint sites through Microsoft Entra ID Governance, but it's only supported at this point, from my knowledge share, it's only supported for SharePoint Online sites, not for SharePoint on-premise sites, but I'm not 100% sure. But SharePoint Online sites are supported, definitely.
Okay, great. And the next question is, how does SOD across all systems, SaaS services work in an org from Entra ID Governance perspective, and from Pathlock side? From Pathlock side, it's clear to me, but from Entra ID Governance perspective.
Yeah. At the moment, you have the possibility to create some separation of duties. Inside an access package, you could say, okay, which are incompatible access packages. So when someone is owning this access package, he couldn't prove or get another access package. And you could also configure some incompatible groups with users which are not allowed to approve this access package or to request this access package because they are holding another role again already.
Great. Okay, and our next question is to Prabal. Does Pathlock include pre-delivered risk rule sets or risk metrics for critical business applications such as SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft Dynamics 365?
Yes, to answer that, yes, we do have out of the box or say pre-delivered risk matrices for most of the critical applications, which for SAP, PeopleSoft, Oracle, Salesforce, and much more. So yes, the answer is yes. And because we have the integration for all these applications, we are not only talking about in-app risk, but also cross-app risk. So the access packages which we just saw during the webinar contains both in-app roles and different application roles as well. So we can take care of both in-app and cross-app risk. Thank you.
Okay, and then we had another question come in that says, does Pathlock seem to be in the lead of roles and publishes it to Entra as access packages? Can existing Entra access packages also be imported into Pathlock Cloud?
That's a very good question. So yes, we do read all the access packages part of Entra ID governance. So yes, we do have the report where you can see the Pathlock delivered ones as well as the ones which are being directly maintained in Entra ID governance.
Perfect. And our next question is, can Pathlock also reconcile roles from target systems to Entra ID and assign them to user as packages in a brownfield environment?
Stephanie, can you come again from, does Pathlock?
Can Pathlock also reconcile roles from target systems to Entra ID and assign them to a user as packages in a brownfield environment?
Yes, we can definitely do. Yes, all the connectors which Pathlock supports and has the connectors out of the box. Yes, we can do that for you.
Perfect. And then another question we have, and this is to you, Michael, is how does Entra ID Governance handle identities across hybrid environments where we still have on-premise Active Directories?
Yeah, as seen before on this slide, I think it was number 3 or 4. There is this Entra ID provisioning service, which will connect to the local Active Directory, and then there create the user on premise, and then after that it's going with the standard Microsoft Entra Connect synchronization to Microsoft Entra ID and then back to the HR system.
Perfect. And other question, how does Entra ID Governance help us demonstrate compliance during audits?
Yeah, Entra ID Governance provides these audit logs I mentioned. So in these audit logs, every permission change, every request, every removal, every add for some user access or some roles will be audited and could be exported from external auditor or for security investigations. And this should help to demonstrate the compliance during audits for ISO, SOX, or GDPR or DORA.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have today. If you do have any more questions, I just wanted to say that we are happy to answer those. You can reach out to us at info@pathlock.com, and we would be happy to answer any of those questions. And anyone that registered for this webinar will get a follow-up email with the recording, and which will include the slides on the recording. And so if you have any questions, you can respond to that email, and we would be happy to answer any of your questions. Oh, we had one more question come in. It says, for an organization to have Pathlock plus Entra ID Governance, what is the licensing scheme?
That is a very good question. I guess, Stephanie, I guess, one of the A's can, typically respond to that because
Sure.
this is more from the sales perspective. Right? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we will have someone follow up to you on that. I'll make sure that one of our sales reps gets this question and follows up with you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we hope to see you at future webinar events. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.